Welcome to the project. Tonight, is Dutton digging into Trump's election playbook, the political plays that are looking a little Trump-esque?
Also, we're putting our hands in our pockets more than ever to tip, but is it really the Aussie way?
Plus, we chat with the rock legend and musical genius behind iconic rock band Toto.
Oh,
What a cracker.
Oh,
great tune.
I don't Steve. Nice.
That was good. Thank you for lending us your opinion there, Pricey. That was great. Now, also on the show, the interesting new way celebrities are protecting themselves from getting cancelled. And before you ask, Pricey, I checked you are uninsurable.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Premium too high.
No. So they won't.
High risk.
They won't touch you. They will not touch you.
Righto.
We are live from the lands of the Cooler Nation, and we've already said hello to Steve, haven't we? So do we do that?
I'm here.
Steve, what are some other great tunes?
Let It Be.
Yeah, that is a great
it
tune.
checks out. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well
there
done.
we go. All right. Give us a
No,
Spotify
checks
list
out.
later in
Yeah.
the show. Let's check today's top stories now. And the latest news poll hasn't delivered good news for Labor. It's found the majority of voters are tipping the coalition to win at the next federal election. The coalition is leading Labor 51 to 49 on a two-party preferred basis. PM Anthony Albanese's approval rating has also slumped to its lowest level since he was elected.
No outrageous celebrations for world number one Yannick Sinner following his big win over Alexander Zverev in the men's singles final at the Australian Open last night. Instead, he was enjoying his new silverware today after securing his second AO title and his third Grand Slam. His next challenge, talking his Aussie coach, Darren Cahill, out of retiring later this year.
I'm learning a lot from him. No, I just try to do my best as he does. At the end of the day, we are not, only coach and player, but it's more like, more family.
A bulldozer has been called in to remove a rental car bogged on an inner-city Melbourne beach. The driver was a tourist from New South Wales who'd apparently decided to put the four-wheel drive to the test with some circle work.
Hell yeah.
Police reportedly breath tested him before allowing him to leave the scene.
Wow. Now, Sunrise's Andrew McCormack, he was on the scene down there at the beach, but he seemed a little reluctant to offer his full support to the driver.
I think once all this mess is sorted, Mohammed, look, he doesn't seem drug or alcohol affected. He's quite a nice guy at this stage.
At this stage. But to be honest, if he's kind of been okay with his car half submerged underwater, I reckon he's a pretty chill guy all the time. Now, he claimed he was doing circle work, but the Today Show, when they talked to him, they got a very different story.
Just a quick chat about how you managed to do this.
So, yeah, I was just trying to save someone. He was stuck.
No, you drove this onto the beach.
I did, and I was just trying to save someone, and he left.
You'll be able to get it out?
Of course, yeah, it's not impossible. Nothing is impossible, but I'll get it out. I believe in myself. I'm confident. People go to the moon.
But there you go. SpaceX's first mission, launch a rocket. Next, get Mohammed's car off the beach.
Yeah, because he's a lovely guy at this stage.
At this stage, we don't know, but he's got to get his car off the beach, guys. Come on.
Drone footage of a South Australian beach near Adelaide is packed with thousands of Mohammeds. Four-wheel drives.
Hey,
and
well
it
done,
has
Ali.
gone viral. It seems everyone had the same idea of how to spend the long weekend. But local residents have voiced their disapproval online, with one asking why there wasn't a vehicle limit. Another joke, they'll just go to the local shopping centre car park next year. So until 30 seconds ago, I didn't know anyone had ever done this, and we've just devoted a whole lot of television to
cars on beaches.
Well,
Is what it's all
this is
about.
Pricey's neck of the woods.
Yeah, I know that beach really well. You've been able to... If you go a little bit further north, back towards Adelaide, is a nude beach.
Hello.
How do you know?
I don't know if you take your car to the nude beach or you park there and walk down, but that's Maslin's.
What's the
Maslin's beach?
How do
Why'd you
you
bring the
know
nude
it's there?
beach
Have you
into it?
been there?
I have.
Pricey.
What were you wearing?
Working, I was there.
You were working.
Yes.
At a nude beach?
I had a suit on.
Oh, you had a suit?
What, are you taking tickets? What does that mean?
The day it opened, I was sent there to do a news story on it.
Oh.
And your suit, it wasn't a birthday suit. It was a proper...
No, I was fully clothed.
Can I get asked to do that story, please?
Oh, that's going to stay around. That's in my mind for the rest of the show. Now, it might have been Australia Day yesterday, but it was a Make America Great Again cap that almost got a bloke kicked out of a Melbourne bar. And Notter has told Radio 3AW venue staff told him if he didn't take off the cap, he'd have to leave. We've reached out to the venue for comment.
We've also reached out to the man in the hat who joins us now. Ange, what did they say to you?
It was just basically, I need you to remove the hat because it's provoking political violence. And if I don't remove it, I'll be evicted out of the venue.
Provoking political violence. Were people around you getting agitated or anything?
No, never. I've actually worn the hat probably 4 times in a row at the same venue in the last 8 weeks. So it's a surprise to me. I'm actually a regular there as well. And to be honest, I was just having a bad hair day yesterday, so I just thought I'd put the hat on again.
If it was the same venue, was it just a different person in charge that day? I don't understand why they would have reacted the way they did.
Yeah, I'm in the same. Likewise, I really don't know because, as I said, I am a regular there. They would know my face. I spend every Sunday afternoon there. It's the only day off I get for myself for the week to enjoy, my social time. And to be actually asked by a venue manager to remove it, it was a bit of a standover approach as well. And to me, it's just a hat. Like I'm not out there to offend anyone by wearing it. It was given to me by a friend in the States. I've got a few of them, and she's always said, "Oh, you wearing your MAGA hats?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I am. I'm wearing them. Thanks for the gifts, and I'll continue to wear them."
You say you've worn that hat out plenty of times. What kind of reaction do you normally get?
I've never had any low brows or anyone throwing cheap comments or anything like that. Some people have just stared. I've only had one positive reaction where someone just said, "I love your hat, dude," but that's it. Nothing negative.
It's just shocking to hear that Steve Price used the word dude.
So are you a rusted-on Trumpian? Do you love Donald Trump? I mean, is that why you've got that hat on your head?
I do support him. I love him as a person, as a character. I've always taken interest in his career. And part of me is also a little bit, I'm jealous as well. Like to have a politician like that loves his country and puts his people first. Like I'm sort of envious. Like we need more of that here.
Ange, I can relate to this. You're not going to believe this. Once I was in America and I wore a Kevin 07 hat and I got kicked out of a bar. It was crazy. Should we start a support group for people wearing hats?
For Kevin 07 or for
any hats, bad hair days?
Actually, you could do with a hat now, Sam.
That's actually quick. Can I borrow that hat? Is that all right?
I'd be more than happy to pioneer it for you.
Good on you, mate.
Ange, thanks so much for your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Well, I've got a MAGA hat and I've got a Trump hat, but I don't think I'd go to St Kilda wearing it or any inner city suburb of Melbourne. I mean, it'd be okay at my golf club down the peninsula. That'd be okay. I'd probably get a pat on the back down there, but not in St Kilda.
Have you worn it playing golf?
I took it to a golf club and I wasn't brave enough to wear it on the course, I'm afraid to say.
You've got to take it to one of Trump's golf courses.
Maybe. What?
Trump's golf courses. That's where you could wear it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, golf is the sport to wear.
Yeah, wear it there.
Got to take a break. We'll see you very soon.
Welcome to the project.
Hey, this is the last thing you want to see, but a colony of rats has been filmed scurrying around the kitchen of a popular Sydney eatery. The TikTok video was taken when the takeaway shop was closed. The rats seem to be making themselves right at home, maybe auditioning for a Disney Pixar movie.
Let's hope.
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Maybe they just like the food. She may be a celebrity in the jungle, but Sigrid Thornton has shared some special memories of host Robert Irwin's late father, Steve. She's released footage that she took of Steve dressed up as his alter ego, Glenn Glamour. Robert revealed in 2022 that his dad would wear the disguise so he could go incognito at Australia Zoo. Glenn's look involved a bucket hat and fake teeth. It's pretty good.
That's awesome.
Would you pick him in the crowd, though?
No.
It would be about the movement and the speaking.
Yeah. He'd be excited about everything.
Stop saying
Well, you'd be
crikey.
like, who's that random guy tackling a crocodile?
All right, got to see what's making news now around the world.
Further mediation will see at least 3 more hostages released by Hamas this week. In return, thousands of displaced Palestinians who've been waiting at a military checkpoint for 2 days will now be allowed to return to northern Gaza. The breakthrough comes as the families of 4 Israeli soldiers freed by Hamas spoke publicly for the first time since their reunion.
We are so grateful to have Karina here with us. She is only beginning to process what she's been through.
As deportation raids continue in the US, President Donald Trump is holding off on sanctions against Colombia. Trump had threatened to impose not only travel bans, but a 25% tariff on all Colombian goods coming into the US because Colombia turned back deportation flights. But the White House says the tariffs won't be applied because Colombia has agreed to accept the flights from now on. And a flashy family holiday has been the downfall of a highly sought-after drug kingpin from Costa Rica. Luis Grijalba was arrested in the UK after officials tracked him down using his wife's social media account. She's been posting photos of their lavish Euro vacay, thus revealing their location.
Probably in a bit of trouble, I think, the wife.
Well, you know, if you go there and don't post, did you really go there?
I'm with you. What's worse, like international police coming after you or people not knowing you were on a beach in Greece?
Losing all those likes, yeah.
Exactly. It's quite serious. Now, guys, after back-to-back Australian Open titles, Italian Yannick Sinner agrees that Melbourne holds a special place in his heart. But I don't think Melbourne means that much to him.
You've got the city of Melbourne behind you. This city must feel fairly special to you right now.
Yeah, it's very special.
How long do you get to spend in Melbourne now?
I'm gonna leave tonight.
Yeah, there we go. He actually misspoke. He loves Melbourne from the view of an aeroplane window. Leaving.
More projects after this.
This is the project.
Well, as Robbo mentioned, the data is in and Australia, you've shown us your tips. And it was kind of shocking, I'm not going to lie. Turns out we're tipping more than ever before.
Wow.
I do tip a small amount because they do get a good wage in Australia.
Overseas we tipped a lot. It's just not the norm here, I think.
$25.20. That was the average tip in Australia in 2024, a 25% increase from 2023. City Slickers led the charge with Melburnians and Brisbaneites the most generous, while Sydney-siders and Perthites were the stingiest.
The frequency of tipping in metro areas is higher than in regional areas, and particularly in places like Melbourne, which saw the highest average tip out of anywhere in Australia.
Here in Sydney, it's just because of the cost of living.
Melbourne especially is a lot of just like cafes and little businesses, so it makes sense that they support that sort of thing.
And it's not just hospitality workers benefiting from our generosity. Beauticians are taking home some extra moolah, along with tattooists, barbers, and even taxi drivers.
I base the amount I tip on my own earnings. If I had more money, I'd tip more. Does that make sense?
But given we're all tightening our belts,
the soaring cost of living
Australians struggling with the cost of living is hitting harder than ever before.
Why are we tipping more?
FPOS terminals, which prompt the customers discreetly for a tip, allows people to leave that gratuity. Definitely we're seeing a trend where businesses who are accepting electronic payments are more likely to receive a positive gratuity at the end of an experience.
It's not all good news for service industries, though. The data shows overall we're still not a tipping nation. Customers including gratuity on less than 1% of transactions.
Tipping definitely doesn't represent the majority, but it's still on the rise.
We don't tip, it's just that people get paid a wage and that's it. I don't get tipped at work, nor do you.
If we had better service, I think there'd be more tipping.
So should Aussies be coughing up cash for customer service, or is it un-Australian to tip?
Khanh Ong is a foodie, former MasterChef contestant and a restaurateur, and he's here to give us a tip. Khanh.
Hey.
Yeah. Sorry, I just walked into a pun I didn't intend. Do you tip?
I tip. I feel guilty though, so I tip.
When you tip, what?
You feel guilty for tipping?
No, I feel guilty, so I tip because I know how hard the service industry works. I know how hard the waiters work, and then the tips don't even just go to them. It goes back of house as well to the bussies, to the chefs. It's a whole thing. So tips get split, right, basically at restaurants.
Right.
I always tip, even if the service is not particularly good, because like you, I feel that you need to make a point that you're there and you're going to help out.
Yeah.
Should I tip if the service is no good?
Oh, I think that's up to you, but for me, I do just because I still feel bad. I feel like it's not the front-facing person that you're tipping, just them. It's everyone else. And also, they could be having a bad day. There could be a lot going on. They'll be on their feet all day. The job is hard. The job is really difficult. So I tip. I might tip a little bit less, but I always do tip.
I think, we saw it in the package there, FPOS, the rise of paying by card, is why people are tipping more, because it gives you an option often. And you've probably been on the other side of it in your working career. Is it weird when you see, because often I'll be the options are 5%, 25%, 40%, and I pretend I'm going to do 40%. and then I go 0. Like, is it awkward to be on the other side of that, watching people just have a breakdown?
You know, when I used to be at the counter, like once in a while I'll be on the counter and people will come up and they'll pay their bill. I would just look the other way because I'm like, this is so awkward for me as well.
It's awkward.
Yes, it is very, very awkward.
You're not judging people who don't tip? Just a little bit?
No, I'm not judging, but I kind of know.
Who's this stingy?
You know.
And usually it's the people that you don't expect to tip that would give the biggest tips. And people that I think will tip won't. People on dates, always tips.
Hell yeah.
Big groups, always tip.
Yeah, yes. And it does actually go to stuff, because I heard that it goes, like, to replace glasses, broken glasses and stuff. Is that not a thing?
It shouldn't. It
That's
definitely
not a no.
No, it's
What if
definitely a
you've
no.
had if you've had great service, but your meat was a bit dry, or you had a great meal, but, you know, the attitude from the waiter is a bit annoying, can you just tip towards one person?
So usually what I do is, if I go to a restaurant, I know that most tips get shared, right? So I'll have the FPOS tip, and there's always like a 10 or 20 on the side just in case the service is exceptional. I'll go, here's another 20 for you.
So if the service is really good, I'll often pull out a $20 note and just slip it into the hand of the person and then tip on the machine. What sort of percentage should we be doing?
I don't think it's a percentage thing. Like, I know that people always talk about it being a percentage thing, but it's more to me like 20, 50, depending on how much the bill is. But I don't think it should be broken down to like 5, 10 or 15, 20%.
So I hear everything you're saying, and I don't begrudge anyone getting tips in that industry.
Yeah.
But I really worry about the idea of us developing a tipping culture.
Yeah.
Because they have it in America, it becomes an excuse for really low wages. It becomes a way that, you know, businesses can put prices up without actually being honest about it.
Yeah.
It forces everyone into this awkward encounter you described before every time. It is such a relief to leave America and just know, I just pay this amount. Is it worth preserving our non-tipping culture for those reasons?
I actually don't think we have a tipping culture.
No, we don't, but is it worth protecting that?
Yeah, well, I think that we are protecting it because, like, the percentage shows that the majority of people don't tip, right?
Yeah.
I find that people who work in hospo do tip, and it's more about, you know, being like, hey, I understand how hard your job is and how well you're doing at it. Here's a little bit of money. I also tip at the bar, but first round, I go real hard at the bar so that they're like, he's nice, we're going to go back and serve him first.
Clever. Very clever.
Also, if you own a restaurant, get Steve Price in, it sounds like.
Right tip right
Getting a
there.
lot of money
Khanh, we love you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Watching the project.
Let's get some more news now. And Anthony Albanese has called on Australians to work together to stamp out anti-Semitism. He's made the appeal as he marked the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz at a Jewish centre in Perth. Opposition leader Peter Dutton was also there and agreed with the PM's call.
It was very good that all sides of politics were here today. It was very positive.
I hope the Jewish community knows that 99% of Australians support them.
A 63-year-old man has been accused of recording intimate images of sunbathers on Sydney's busy Bronte Beach. It's alleged he recorded the images without consent. He was charged with 3 offences, arrested yesterday in front of stunned beachgoers, and later he was remanded to face court at Parramatta.
Plenty of hot weather around the country for Australia Day, the public holiday, but in Victoria it was sweltering. Temperatures soared above 43 degrees. A total fire ban is in place across much of the state. Lightning strikes sparked fires and caused power outages. In some parts of Melbourne, the mercury passed 41, so anywhere near the water was the place to be.
Yeah, this is a beautiful place. The river is nice. With friends, you can have a really good time.
Don't jump in.
Yeah, maybe
and
not
celebrities can now insure themselves against being cancelled and the social media fallout. The coverage includes protection from misinformation, blackmail and deepfakes. It also offers a 24/7 hotline and 60-day crisis communication. The first company offering this sort of protection for public figures is backed by Lloyd's of London, but the insurance will be invalid if a customer has broken the law.
Gee, I can think of a few times in my life I needed that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I would have thought you're uncancelable.
That's kind of what I think as well.
Well, no, you can say things live on television and live on radio that you shouldn't say.
Like, could you give us an example, potentially?
Then, no, and then people go after you and you are at risk of being sacked.
Have we seen...
I saw it happen in Sydney radio. People got sacked because they'd said certain things about certain people and the advertisers started cancelling and so the person got cancelled.
Yeah, well, there'd be groups of people online, right, who would mobilise and target people to bring them down. Have we seen the end of that now, do you think?
It's definitely...
Is cancel culture cancelled?
I don't think it's over, but it's
No, it's not
definitely
over. It still exists.
And also depends where you are. If you're a comedian like this guy, they're right into cancel.
I'm in a lot
Let's
of
see if we
trouble.
can find something problematic, Sam,
guys.
is sad.
I've got the full Daily Mail package. You can't hurt me, all right? Now, a lot of the times, guys, on this show, I show you clips of politicians, people in the media, or someone falling over. You can guess what this is.
Oh, my God.
He's doing very well, isn't he?
Very well.
Oh, honey.
He's all right.
Oh, darling.
There you go. See, it was about politics, right? It was a comment on the RBA and the balancing act that is interest rates.
There's that political science
coming
degree
out,
of
isn't
yours
it?
again, hey?
Cancel me.
Yeah. Now, as we wait for a date for this year's federal election, the opposition's summer campaign blitz is starting to sound curiously familiar. So is Dutton playing his trump card?
I'm also very pleased today to announce the important role of Shadow Minister for Government Efficiency.
Enter Smoge, Peter Dutton's newly unveiled shadow ministry. Sound familiar?
The new Department of Government Efficiency.
While Doge, US President Donald Trump's new body, is led by Trump's BFF Elon,
We're going to take Doge to Mars.
Smoge will be headed by Dutton's secret weapons, Senator Jacinta Numpajimpa Price.
Who has done an amazing body of work, as I say, a fantastic job.
How awesome!
The point of both Smoge and Doge? Slashing federal spending.
There's a lot of waste.
Your money is being wasted.
$6 billion a year spent on 36,000 new public servants in Canberra.
We're going to slash the waste in our bloated federal bureaucracy.
The comparisons came thick and fast.
Is this just copying what Donald Trump has done?
And the similarities don't stop there.
We're going to stop woke. Woke is bullshit.
People are happy to treat everyone equally but got sick of the woke agenda.
We can't help but draw comparisons between your campaign...
Let's get Australia back on track.
...and Donald Trump's.
Make America great again.
I think there are some pretty basic principles that are around that are shared across countries and communities.
But there are points of difference.
There are only two genders, male and female.
We don't have any plans to change our position in relation to that issue.
I'm immediately withdrawing from the unfair one-sided Paris Climate Accord ripoff.
I think we've been pretty firm in our commitment to net zero by 2050, and that's a commitment that we will honour.
So with a federal election looming and a new poll showing the majority of Aussies expect a coalition win, is Dutton digging into Trump's election playbook?
Are you better off today than you were when Mr Albanese was first elected?
Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?
Well, News.com.au's political editor Sam Maiden is with us now. Sam, is Peter Dutton channeling Donald Trump just a teensy bit here?
Look, I mean, I think that he thinks that there's a vibe shift, for want of a better, more technical term, and he has spoken about this idea that the rise of this sort of anti-woke stuff, and that there is sort of a bit more freedom to talk about this sort of stuff. But I think there's a lot of differences. I mean, like you said in the package, he is still going to go for, the Paris Agreement at this stage, at least. There's obviously people within the coalition that would like to dump that. He was very quick to, shut down the debate over abortion when that started to bubble away in Queensland, basically saying we're not going to have a big debate about that. So, I mean, by and large, I think that they are simpatico. But I don't think that Peter Dutton is a Donald Trump kind of character. I think he's a lot more straighty 180 and a bit more boring than that.
Well, he's clearly not copying Trump wholesale, and there are very clear differences. What's interesting to me, though, is that when he is doing it, like with this government efficiency shadow ministry, it's really overt. It's not hiding it, there's not camouflage, it's very clear. What do you think the strategy is in doing it when he does choose to do it that way?
Well, it depends on where you look at it, right? Because, I mean, the coalition has long talked about this sort of government efficiency stuff. They've been talking about it going back to Tony Abbott. I get your point that, you know, the acronym sounds the same. But, I mean, this is like core business for the coalition, right? They want smaller government and, you know, they want things to, you know, be basically, you know, tightened up. I think that, like, it's interesting, two things that Dutton is doing. One is this stuff with the flag and saying that he's not going to display an Aboriginal flag, having this whole one Australia under one flag thing. That's a bit Trumpy. And also, I think that the stuff that he talked about recently on the Mark Boris podcast, basically suggesting that young men feel like they're being painted as ogres, they're missing out on promotion because they're not Sheilas. I think it's really interesting that he's opening that conversation up, and a bit risky as well, because the coalition, traditionally, some people have tried to suggest that, you know, they've got a bit of a problem with women voters.
Sam, the polls are going downhill for Anthony Albanese. News poll out today saying more people think Peter Dutton will win than don't. What do you think?
Well, I think that what's interesting about that poll is it could be a clue of how the undecideds are going to break. But there is like a contradiction at the heart of that poll, which is that a majority of people, I think it's 53 to 47, think Peter Dutton is going to win. But on the two-party preferred basis, like when people actually put down how they're going to vote, at this stage he's well short of the number of seats he needs to win. So he needs to win about 18 seats to form majority government. Obviously, it would be a bit less to form minority government, but the poll only has him winning, depending on the size of the swing, somewhere between 7 seats and 13 seats. Now, that's well short of 18. So it could be that the fact that people are saying he's going to win is a bit of a clue as to where the polls are going, and it's going to get worse for Anthony Albanese. But at this stage, there's a disconnect between who people think is going to win and how they're actually telling the pollsters they're going to vote.
Maybe it'll come down to the way he dances. Sam, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
You are watching The Project. We'll be back soon.
This is The Project. Welcome back.
All right, guys, as the Australian Open wraps up, Australians take a collective sigh that they don't have to pretend to know about tennis for the next 12 months. Me, I love sport. I'm pushing through. It doesn't end. It's time for... The Australian Open is done, and it was great to see women's runner-up Aryna Sabalenka making time to throw her team under the bus after her loss.
Should I say anything to my team? As always, that's your fault, guys. I don't want to see you for the next week. I really hate you.
Being roasted by women is enough to make you a professional tennis coach? I think I'm pretty qualified. Now, Aussie tennis great Judy Dalton had one of the moments of the tournament presenting the doubles runner-ups with their trophy. So they've got these are the silver plates you get. Yes, now they don't look, they're the wrong ones. Wrong plates. Jude, where'd you put them?
Red plates.
Okay. Have you got some other ones there? Oh, here we go. There they are. She did it. I find that quite shocking because you think Nan would know which are the good silver plates to get. Like, I'm quite shocked at that. Let's go to the NFL where Philadelphia Eagles star Jordan Mailata is set to make history. This is exciting, becoming the first Australian to make it to 2 Super Bowls. And my boy brings a bit of Australian flair to his press conferences.
Does it ever bother you that people don't really consider Jalen that caliber of quarterback despite his record?
Just want to apologise for this. I couldn't give
Yeah, well, there we go.
I just want to apologise. I'm sorry. I couldn't give a rat's ass.
A rat's ass! Oh my God, be still, my beating Australian heart. He then called the opposition a pack of flaming galahs and signed off by saying, "Game on, moles." Beautiful stuff. Now, the whole of Philly is pumped. They're in the Super Bowl. It's amazing. But let's just hope the mayor of Philly learns how to spell Eagles before the Super Bowl.
Well, listen, we've got to do this. Let me hear you all say, E-L-G-S-E-S-E. Eagles!
What?
I don't think that was right at all. I think America needs to focus less on sport and more on school. SKHOOL.
Oh, you got the H.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah. I was pretty impressed
The
by that.
silent
Yeah,
H.
yeah,
Hard,
yeah.
yeah.
And after Ohio won the National College Football Championship, let me tell you, things went downhill pretty quick for their players.
Ryan J, you deserve it, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Wow. Now, I've had experience with that. I played golf with Steve after a few red wines at lunch.
True.
Very similar. Finally, guys, snowboarding, where Hiroto Ogiwara landed the world's first, this is crazy, 2340-degree spin. It's never been done before. The first time, 6.5 rotations. It's amazing, and it hit one commentator in a pretty surprising way.
Turn his back to the takeoff right here.
Look at this.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Incredible.
360.
Look at this.
720. 1080. Oh my. 1440. 1800.
Oh, I'm going to throw
2160.
Oh my God, I'm nauseous.
6.5. All right, let's recreate it. Spin me,
No,
Waleed.
don't
Spin
do
me,
that.
spin me, spin me. Oh, shit.
Wow.
And that was the second one. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Spin the bottle.
Don't do it.
We didn't make it.
Can I just say it's...
Actually, I feel nauseous.
It's far less impressive when someone else has to do it for you.
Yeah. Also, this Kmart chair, I don't think is up to the task either.
And you need a knee reco.
Yeah, I know, I banged my knee. Oh.
Your
Quality.
hands all skewed.
Everything went well. We're going to a break. We'll see you soon.
Still going.
Welcome back. You're watching the program.
Our next guest is a multi-platinum hitmaker from one of the most iconic bands of all time.
Bless the rains down in Africa for the rock legends that are Toto. Cutting across generations with their timeless anthems, the band have racked up 6 Grammys, 6 billion streams, and boast some of the most recognisable songs on the planet. And as of right now, they've announced they're coming back to Australia for what's sure to be a roof-raising tour. So many bangers. Would you please welcome Toto, singer and guitarist?
What's up?
Oh, man, so great to have you on. I called you Luke, but of course your full name is Steve Lukather, but you go by Luke, which, I mean, that's a perfectly valid choice, but as an Australian, I've got to say, what happened to Steve-O?
Yes.
There were 14 Steves in the room all the time. That's how I became Luke.
This fact blows my mind. Your songs...
And it happened in high school. It's not like...
No, go on.
Keep going.
Go ahead. No, I lost the moment, man. It happens at my age. You know?
It happens at my age too.
Who are you people? Why are you bothering me? Why are you in my house bothering me?
We try not to bother you. 3 million times a day, your songs are played on Spotify alone. Does that blow your mind to think that any given moment there's a house party somewhere belting out Africa?
Yeah, it's a demented thought, but at the same time, it's kind of cool to think that people around the world like our music that we wrote in North Hollywood when we were much younger. I mean, it's been a wild ride, man. It's still riding high, man. I can't even believe it, man. We're really enjoying life.
Anyone who's got a song that's as huge as this, do you know why? Like, do you have any idea what it is about that one that meant that that exploded in a way that other ones maybe didn't?
You know, I mean, ask anybody who's ever written a hit song. I mean, it's like if you knew how to do it, you'd do it every time. Some you're sure is going to be a hit and not. And like in the case of Africa, there's no way. Are you kidding me? Listen to these lyrics, you know. We laugh about it now, but it's a wonderful laugh, and you know, it's been very good to us. And if that's what it takes to get everybody to dig the rest of it, that seems to be the case now. And we got a younger audience all of a sudden for some reason, and that's kind of cool. I guess they want to go out and see what the guys who actually play without Pro Tools sound like.
Oh, shots fired. I like that. Cop that. Now, Africa is like Yes, yes, get him through the screen. Africa is so widespread. Oh, I heard that there's even an art installation in the Namibian desert that just plays the song Africa on loop for like all of eternity. It's just there playing. Have you heard of this?
Well, we were trying to get a representative from ASCAP or PRS to go out there and count the times we get paid. See, that's be weird if aliens landed and looked at that thing, and that's all the first thing they ever saw on planet Earth. They'd probably lift off and never come back.
Hey, you've also worked with our own Olivia Newton-John on classics like Physical. What was that like?
So this would have been 1977, the height of her powers of talent and beauty. And when she walked into the room, man, it was like an angel floated in, man. I've never seen such a beautiful woman in person before, and she was even nicer, which made it better. And she stayed that way the whole time. God bless her soul. She was sweet. I did 3 or 4 albums with her.
Now, I'm very excited. You're coming to Australia. You're going to play the last ever Blues Fest.
Wow.
But you're also doing an Australian tour, which is super exciting. Now, I read half your streams are from listeners that are
Can I talk about it now?
Yeah. Please, come on, tell us everything.
Well, I wasn't allowed to. Well, they announced Byron Bay Blues first. They asked to have exclusivity for the first couple of weeks, and we said, cool. But we had always planned on playing Melbourne and Sydney. Those are the offers that came our way. And we took as much as we could because we want to play, man. We had such a great time with you guys last time.
A lot of your listeners now are younger. Half your streams come from people that are 34 and under. Do you expect to see some younger faces in the crowd, potentially?
It's been that way for the past couple of years, and we're so grateful for it. I mean, I don't really see a whole bunch of people with my colored hair out there. I mean, maybe everybody's done. I stopped dyeing it a couple of years ago. My son was like, "You turned 65, Dad. Stop dyeing your hair. You look like an idiot." You know what I mean? So this is what I really look like. Hey, Mom, what's up?
I think it was great.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a rock star.
Yes.
It's amazing. Hey, we're so excited about you coming to Australia. Would you, when you're in town, come and visit us on the desk? Because we think we would get on really well without a 6-second delay.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, you can't trust me without a 6-second delay. Ask anybody that's interviewed me in the last 40 years.
Toto's Aussie shows, they go on sale next week. Would you please thank the very charming, a little bit wild,
It has been more than 2 years since the world lost the legendary Olivia Newton-John. To mark the occasion, her niece, singer and actress Tottie Goldsmith, is taking her new show, Auntie O, on the road. In it, she'll be singing some of ONJ's biggest hits and sharing how her aunt shaped and changed her life. And she's been good enough to join us now. Would you please welcome Tottie Goldsmith?
To be here on the desk.
Fancy, isn't it?
It's so fancy.
It is.
Hey.
We've got to get, obviously, into the show, but you heard what Luke had to say there about...
Well, that's right. That's beautiful. That's what she's like. She's just what you see is what you get. But he hasn't seen her after, a couple of champagnes.
I got a feeling he'd be worse after a couple of champagnes,
Yeah, she's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So
we lost her such a short time ago. We lost an icon, but for you it was more than that. It was your auntie. What was that relationship like?
Well, it was kind of not your normal kind of aunt-niece thing, because my brother... So Livia's older sister, Rona, was my mother, and I've got a brother and sister that are a bit older than me. And she left us when we were really young. Like, I wasn't yet 3 and they were 4 and 5-ish.
Your mum
and she went, she went back to the UK to pursue her career. And we wouldn't have met her without Olivia. And so Olivia kind of stepped in as this mother heart, is the only way I can really describe it. Oh. And she was a real force in our lives and really important to us. But also she had that maternal role growing up, and that kept, but then it turns into a friendship, and then it turned into, I've worked with her on the wellness centre for, since its inception. And so the relationship's very, it's deep, and I really miss her. A big part of my life.
What's a story about her that would surprise people?
I don't know. I mean, she was really cheeky. So one time she said, Plonker, which was my nickname with her, I want to go and
What was
to
it?
Plonker.
Plonker?
Toddy Plonk.
Oh.
It was an English thing, and even my mother called me Totti Plonk. So it was a Newton-John side of the family thing. So she said she wanted to go to a spiritual seminar in Las Vegas, and she always wanted Brett, Fiona and I to get closer to our mum, whatever she could do to do that. Actually, when we all turned 18, she gave us a Pan Am. Remember Pan Am?
Yeah.
First class ticket to go over and meet our mother, like get to know our mother. So she was always on that thing, trying to get us together. So she said, let's go to Vegas. I want to see this Hay House seminar, which is like a spiritual kind of retreat thing. So we'd go to spiritual seminars during the day, and then we'd be drinking dirty martinis at night at the Wynn Hotel. So, that's called a balanced life. But she was just like, she had steel. She was full of heart and really intelligent, incredibly wise, which is really what got this show of mine going, and loved to laugh, and really cheeky, and incredibly playful, but incredible depth and wisdom. And strength.
So can we talk about the show for?
Yeah.
So what bangers are coming out here? Like, I need to know. Are you donning the lycra? Okay, that's a weird silence.
62 years old.
You totally.
I'm not donning any lycra. It's got to hang off me now. It's got to be really firm.
Lycra is a mindset.
Yeah, that's true. It is a mindset.
Yep, that's what all the cyclists near my house say.
That's not
right.
So are you going to wear the lycra?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
That's the only thing I'm going to give away. What do you mean? No, no, I'm not going to wear the lycra. It's just off the table. It's off this table.
It's off the desk.
But we're going to hear lots of anecdotes about.
Lots of anecdotes. It started just because I write. It's one of those things. I think women do it more than men. We just write to get our feelings out and work ourselves out. And then when Olivia died, it ended up moving in the direction of the impact she really had on me. I always knew she did, and she was my go-to for everything, and she played such an important role in me and my siblings' lives. But when she died, everything really escalated in what she actually really brought to me, as it does when you lose people. It heightens. And so it's happened pretty organically. Like, after she died, a few people asked me if I'd do like a tribute show, and that just was not my thing, and it was also way too soon for me.
So coming up after us, I'm a Celeb's on.
Oh.
You and I'm a Celeb alumni.
Yeah.
Do you get PTSD like I do when that show comes on about all the crap we ate?
I think I've got a much more chilled out personality than you. Just saying. But I can't eat a bowl of porridge anymore.
No.
Why? How are you with porridge and rice and beans?
I'm just still eating fish eyes and kudu balls. I mean, that's my normal diet.
But the fancy ones.
I'm telling you, the century egg, when I think about it, I get a gag reflux. Like, and covered in, it was cow urine.
And everyone always asks
gelatin.
you, would you do it again? And
No,
I say, no,
you've done it.
No.
It's like skydiving. You do it and you don't have to do it again.
Why do you need to do it again if you can just talk about it every day? If you want to check out Auntie O, ticket information is up on our website. In the meantime, would you please thank the wonderful Tottie Goldsmith?